ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Jai Gurudev. Yesterday we were at verse 35, which is Bhayadranaduparatam Mansyante Tvam Maharathaha Esham Chatvam Bahumato Bhutva Yasyasi Laghavam. The great warriors will consider you as having retreated from the battle due to fear, and you, having been so highly esteemed by them, will fall in their esteem. Krishna knew that Arjuna was a great man and that his problem was one of affection and sympathy. That is why he told Arjuna that they would look upon him as the one who ran away. Who is they? All the Maharathas. Bhishma, Drona, Karna. Krishna knew that Arjuna's desire to run was not due to fear and that in fact he was not running away. Rather, Arjuna was giving up the fight, according to his own arguments, out of sympathy. But Krishna knew that no one would understand that. There was no dharma involved, nor prudence either. Krishna therefore told Arjuna that running away would be neither a prudent nor an ethical action. He would lose all of the name and fame that he had earned thus far, which would prove to be worse than death. People would make fun of Arjuna. If he went to Rishikesh and sat under a tree, all the pilgrims would come to see Arjuna, who had run away from the battlefield. And having become a sadhu, there would be no recourse for Arjuna. At least, if he had remained as he was, people would be afraid of him. But no one is afraid of a sadhu because he has taken the oath of ahimsa and therefore cannot seek restitution. People will come and talk ill of you, Arjuna, Krishna said. They will say, "What kind of a sadhu are you, Arjuna, to have gone against the dharma? You will have to live with all their accusations, and you are not going to enjoy that." Further, Krishna said, "Avachya vadamscha bahun vadishyanti tavahitaha nindantastava samarthyam tato dukkhataram nukim." Cha and tava, your, ahitaha, enemies, tava, your, samarthyam, prowess, nindantaha, belittling, bahun, many, avachya vadan, unutterable things, vadishyanti, will say, tataha, than that, dukkataram, more painful, nukim, is there anything? Cha tava ahitaha tava samarthyam nindantaha bahun avachya vadan vadishyanti tataha dukkhataram nukim. And belittling your prowess, your enemies will say many unutterable things about you. Is there anything more painful than that? Arjuna's enemies, Duryodhana and the others, would not think that Arjuna went away out of compassion. Even if Duryodhana knew it to be so, he would definitely not say so. Simple psychology was involved here. Duryodhana was a ruler, and already there was talk that Duryodhana was occupying the throne illegitimately. The subjects were not happy with Duryodhana on that score, even though he introduced a lot of welfare schemes to win them over. They knew in their hearts that Duryodhana was just trying to convince them that he was a good person, when in fact he was a usurper and was occupying the throne illegitimately. Everyone knew this. How Arjuna's retreat would be perceived? How Arjuna's retreat would be perceived? Also, if Arjuna were to go away out of compassion, which would have been the case, Dharmaputra would definitely have followed him. Bhima and the other Pandavas would have done the same. Therefore, Duryodhana would be victorious without a shot and would definitely not have allowed the news of Arjuna's real reasons to spread, because he would not want the people to look upon Arjuna and the Pandavas as truly great. To allow this to happen would not have been good psychology on Duryodhana's part, because he would have wanted to draw the attention of all his subjects towards himself. As the ruler, he was the person to be looked up to, not anyone else. Duryodhana could not afford to have anyone else greater than himself be looked up to by the people. His government would fall, and the subjects may have started a revolution in an attempt to oust him. Duryodhana would see to it that he himself was projected and Arjuna demeaned. He would say that Arjuna ran away out of sheer fear. Whatever esteem the people had for Arjuna would go, and they would then think that because he ran away from the battlefield, Arjuna deserved to live in the forest. No one would respect such a person because they knew the dharma, and Duryodhana would make sure that people would talk. Your enemies will use words about your capacity and courage that are impossible for me to repeat. Avachya vadan bahun vadishyanti tava ahitaha. Krishna therefore told Arjuna, what can be more painful than that? Tataha dukkataram nukim. Even the fresh recruits, the simple soldiers would talk. There would definitely be victory parties with a lot of drinking and talking. One soldier would say Arjuna ran away as soon as he looked at him. Another would say Arjuna became frightened when he put his hand on his mustache. Another would say that all he had said to Arjuna was get out, and he fled in fear. Such people would also no doubt talk about Krishna in the same way. Having involved Krishna in the battle, Arjuna was now thinking of running away. Everyone would say that Krishna, as Arjuna's driver, ran away too. Thus, Krishna may have said, on top of everything else, Arjuna, you have also brought me into this mess. In the next verse, Arjuna is told to get up and fight. Anyone wants to share anything before we go further? So it is not just the Maharathas, normal people, common people, including his enemies, would talk ill of him. In fact, the enemies will make the most out of the situation. Duryodhana, he would not let people know that Arjuna ran out of compassion and sympathy and not out of fear. So the simple psychology he would use is to lift himself up in the eyes of the people. He will only project that Arjuna ran out of fear. If he had told the truth that Arjuna ran away out of compassion, then people will be up against him. So, in order to protect his space, Duryodhana would, of course, put down Arjuna. And then people will say things that are unutterable. All this if one runs away from one's dharma. In the next verse, Arjuna is told to get up and fight. हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः hatah va, or if destroyed, swargam, heaven, prapsyasi, you will gain, jitvava, or conquering, mahim, the earth, bhokshyase, will enjoy, tasmat, therefore, kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Arjuna, yuddhaya, to fight, krita nishchayaha, having resolved, uttishta, get up. हतः वा स्वर्गं प्राप्स्यसि जित्वा वा महीं भोक्ष्यसे तस्मात् कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः उत्तिष्ठ. Destroyed, you will gain heaven. Victorious, you will enjoy the world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, get up, having resolved to fight. Here Krishna presented two possibilities to Arjuna. He said, suppose Arjuna, you are destroyed, Hata, in the process by Karna or someone else's arrow, then you will gain heaven. Prapsyasis Swargam. That is the rule. The Dharma Shastra says so. Therefore, when you perform your karma and in the process you die, you are not the loser. You gain Swarga. And after Swarga, you gain a better Janma because you have done what is to be done. So there is no sin. Earlier, Arjuna had put forth an argument based on sin. He had said, I would create confusion in the society and therefore would commit sin. Here, Krishna was telling him that this was not true. Papa would not come to him. In fact, he would gain Swarga. Papa takes one to Naraka. But now, because Arjuna would have died while performing his duty, he would definitely go to Swarga. On the other hand, if Arjuna won the battle, having won Jitva, he would enjoy the kingdom. Therefore, Krishna said, Jitva va bhokshyase mahim. Either way, he was not the loser. In the kind of battles Arjuna fought, there were, there were the only two possibilities, either death or victory. Those days, the wars were fought to the death. Because there was no retreating from battle, the men were either victorious or they died in the process. That was the dharma. Therefore, lovingly addressing Arjuna as Kaunteya, Krishna said, Please get up. Tasmat uttishta. He asked Arjuna to get up because Arjuna had been sitting in the chariot, determined not to fight, and Krishna wanted him to stand up and fight. Telling him to get up was psychological as well as physical. He told Arjuna to get up, not to run away, but having made a favorable decision to fight, Yuddhaya Kritanishchayaha, to either defeat the enemy or die. Once he was finished with this argument, Krishna moved on to a more general standpoint. Arjuna's situation involved a fight, but because the Gita is a Shastra, his situation had to be converted into something that was common, universal. So, while doing, he says, destroyed, you gain heaven. That is while doing your dharma. And in case you live and you become victorious, you will enjoy the kingdom. So either which ways, it's a win-win situation. Whereas on the other hand, if he ran away, he would incur papa. This is quite the opposite of what Arjuna's argument was. He says, if I kill them, I'm going to incur sin. Therefore, it is better for me to not fight. But Krishna is giving the counter argument saying, if you do not fight, you will incur sin. Whereas if you fight and die while fighting, you will gain Swarga. So this Tasmat Uttishta is both physical as well as emotional, psychological. Because Arjuna was sitting down on the chariot. Gandivam Sramsate Hastat. And then um, he says, the earlier Arjuna said, my Gandiva is just falling off from my shoulder, and my hands and feet and my whole body is trembling. And then he just sits down on the chariot. So that's Tasmat Uttishta is Krishna asking Arjuna to get up because he'd been sitting. And it was also psychological. He says, get up, lift yourself up from this misery that you've come into because there is no reason to grieve. And having made a favorable decision to fight, Yuddhaya Nishchaya, Krita Nishchaya, any action first comes as a thought, comes as a. So that thought of Yuddhaya Krita Nishchaya has to come to Arjuna. Yes, I'm going to fight. I will either defeat or die. And then Krishna said something which is universal, which is Sukha Dukhe Same Kritva Labha Labhau Jaya Jayau Tato Yudhaya Yujasva Naivam Papam Avapsyasi. Sukha Dukhe, pleasure and pain, Labha Alabhav, gain and loss, Jaya Ajayav, victory and defeat, Same, the same, Kritva, having made, Tataha, then, Yuddhaya, for battle, Yujasva, prepare, Evam, thus, Papam, sin, Na avapsyasi, you will not incur. Sukha Dukhe, Labha Alabhau, Jaya Ajayau, Same Kritva, Tataha Yuddhaya Yujasva Evam Papam Na Avapsyasi. So, taking pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat to be the same, prepare for battle. Thus, you will not, thus, you will incur no sin. Taking pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat to be the same, prepare for battle. Thus, you will incur no sin. Taking pleasure and pain with equanimity, as though they are one and the same, is the seed for karma yoga. The same applies to gain and loss, victory and defeat, success and failure. Krishna sowed the seed here and discussed it later. The whole Gita is based on the psychology of raga dveshas, likes and dislikes. Raga and dvesha are the known causes for our sorrow. There may be 100 unknown causes, but they can all be reduced to raga and dvesha. Karma Yoga was being propounded here by Krishna, who said in so many words, don't fight for the sake of raga or dvesha. We should not fight just because we do not like someone, nor should we fight just because we like to fight. Raga dveshas are not involved here, only dharma and adharma. Arjuna was not fighting out of spite, whereas Duryodhana was fighting because of both raga and dvesha. He had raga for the kingdom and dvesha for the Pandavas. He had always been jealous of them and could not stand to see them ruling. Thus, Krishna acknowledged that Duryodhana was fighting out of raga dveshas, whereas Arjuna must fight against raga dveshas. Krishna also told Arjuna that in fighting this war, in reality, he was not fighting against Duryodhana. He was fighting against raga dveshas, and therefore the battle was one of dharma adharma. Do what is to be done, Krishna said here, because what was to be done happened to be a fight. He said fight. Because Arjuna was doing his swadharma, Krishna assured him that he would incur no sin. Na evam papam avapsyasi. In fact, by performing this action, he would gain only punya and not papa. To fight this battle was to uphold dharma so that raga dveshas would not rule. This then is the entire psychology of the Gita. Let raga dveshas not be the deciding factor. Let the sense of right and wrong prevail in its place. Let the sense of what is to be done and not to be done be the deciding factor. Then you become a yogi, as we shall see later. Taking the opposites, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat as the same, striving to do what is right and thereby incurring no sin, is karma yoga in seed form, bija rupa, planted here in this verse. Later in this chapter and elsewhere in the Gita, Krishna picks it up again. Krishna had talked to Arjuna mainly about Atma, saying that Atma is something whose very nature is existence. that it is not subject to death, and so on. In fact, he taught Arjuna the nature, Swarupa of Atma. This is called Sankhya, meaning both Brahman and the knowledge of Brahman. The jnanis who have this knowledge of Brahman are also called Sankhyas. So the meaning of Sankhya is Samyak Hyayate Sa Vaidiki Samyak Buddhihi Sankhya Tata Taya Prakashyattvena Sambandhi Tattvam Sankyam Tat Vishaya Buddhihi Sankhya Buddhihi Sa Sankhya Buddhihi Esham Jnaninam Uchita Bhavati Te Sankhyaha. So this means this is called Sankhya. That is the nature of the Swarupa of Atma. Sankhya meaning both Brahman and the knowledge of Brahman. And the jnanis who have gained this knowledge of Brahman are called Sankhyas. In the next verse, Krishna tells Arjuna that thus far he had talked about Sankhya, the nature of Atma, and now he would elaborate upon Karma Yoga, which had been said only in seed form, that is, briefly thus far. In this way, he introduced the two different topics of the Gita Shastra, Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. Because this is such an important section of the Gita, Shankara comments upon it in some detail.
Hari Om Brahmaraji, could you please read once again the Sankhya, that operational definition which is given?
Yeah, no.
The footnote, please.
It would be nice if we could read from the beginning because of the Raga Dvesha.
Yeah, no problem. I will read the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'll first read Sankhya, the meaning of Sankhya. So Sankhya is meaning both Brahman and the knowledge of Brahman. The jnanis who have this knowledge of Brahman are also called Sankhyas. Samyak khyayate sa vaidiki samyak buddhihi sankhya. Taya prakashayatvena sambandhi tattvam sankyam. Tad vishaya buddhihi sankhya buddhihi. Sa sankhya buddhihi esham jnaninam uchita bhavati te sankhyaha. So this verse 38 is Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Taking pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat to be the same. Prepare for battle. Thus you will incur no sin. Taking pleasure and pain with equanimity, as though they are one and the same, is the seed for Karma Yoga. The same applies to gain and loss, victory and defeat, success and failure. Krishna sowed the seed here and discussed it later. The whole Gita is based on the psychology of raga dveshas, likes and dislikes. Raga and dvesha are the known causes for our sorrow. There may be 100 unknown causes, but they can all be reduced to raga and dvesha. Karma Yoga was being propounded here by Krishna, who said in so many words, don't fight for the sake of raga or dvesha. So we have the same battle being fought by the Kauravas and the Pandavas. For the Pandavas, it is a dharma yuddha, whereas for the Kauravas, They are fighting. Duryodhana specifically was fighting because of his raga dvesha. Raga for the kingdom and dvesha for the Pandavas. Whereas the Pandavas fighting the war would be totally in line with dharma. We should not fight just because we do not like someone, nor should we fight just because we like to fight. Raga dveshas are not involved here, only dharma and adharma. Arjuna was not fighting out of spite, whereas Duryodhana was fighting because of both raga and dvesha. He had raga for the kingdom and dvesha for the Pandavas. He had always been jealous of them and could not stand to see them ruling. Thus, Krishna acknowledged that Duryodhana was fighting out of raga dvesha, whereas Arjuna must fight against raga dveshas. Krishna also told Arjuna that in fighting this war, in reality, he was not fighting against Duryodhana. He was fighting against raga dveshas. And therefore, the battle was one of dharma, adharma. Do what is to be done, Krishna said. Here, because what was to be done happened to be a fight, he said, fight. Because Arjuna was doing his swadharma, Krishna assured him that he would incur no sin. Na evam papam avapsyasi. In fact, by performing this action, he would gain only punya and not papa. To fight this battle was to uphold dharma so that ragadveshas would not rule. This then is the entire psychology of the Gita. Let ragadveshas not be the deciding factor. Let the sense of right and wrong prevail in its place. Let the sense of what is to be done and not to be done be the deciding factor. Then you become a yogi, as we shall see later. Taking the opposites, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat, as the same, striving to do what is right and thereby incurring no sin, is karma yoga in seed form, bija rupa. Planted here in this verse. Later in this chapter and elsewhere in the Gita, Krishna picks it up again. Krishna had talked to Arjuna mainly about Atma, saying that Atma is something whose very nature is existence, that it is not subject to death, and so on. In fact, he taught Arjuna the nature, Swarupa of Atma. This is called Sankhya. That's why the second chapter is called Sankhya Yoga, meaning both Brahman and the knowledge of Brahman. The jnanis who have this knowledge of Brahman are also called Sankhyas. In the next verse, Krishna tells Arjuna that thus far he had talked about Sankhya, the nature of Atma, and now he would elaborate upon Karma Yoga, which had been said only in seed form, that is, briefly thus far. In this way, he introduced the two different topics of the Gita Shastra, Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. Because this is such an important section of the Gita, Shankara comments upon it in some detail.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ramaraj. This, um, even though we read it again and again, I know for me it takes a couple of times to read to understand. Um, I know the way he brought this raga dveshas, you're not fighting, uh, sorry, either you like to fight or not like to fight, like that raga dvesha. You are fighting against raga dveshas. But then that bija sorry, the bija mantra, not mantra, it's bijas. He's putting the seed for this karma yoga about explaining. Sorry, I think explaining that you do it with that equanimity. You're not having the. He explained as pleasure and pain, gain or loss, victory or defeat. So then you're not incurring any sin. So that's what I'm trying to understand here. Of course, he's saying you fight against ragadveshas and only for this dharma. I hope that right, Dr. Pramada?
Yeah, so the seed form of Karma Yoga that Krishna has planted here is that Sukha Dukhe Same Kritva Labha Alabhau Jaya Jayo. So, considering all these pairs of opposites as the same. So, which means what?
That
You're not
again,
looking at the outcome.
not having that ragadvesha, basically that's what it comes down to again.
Correct.
Right.
So,
yeah,
the outcome is not important. If the outcome is important, then your raga dveshas are in place.
right.
Isn't it? See, for Duryodhana, the outcome was important.
Yeah, because he wants to not give any property to the Pandavas.
Yeah.
And he want them to be disappeared. That's what his intent to fight, right? That's the intention for him.
Whereas for
But
Arjuna, it was the responsibility to protect dharma.
right.
So whether or not, that's why in the previous verse Krishna tells him, whether you get defeated, if you get defeated, hatova prapsyase swargam, you will gain heaven. Jitva va bhokshase mahim. If you win, you will enjoy
You'll get the
the
land.
kingdom. So
Kingdom.
there he's already given that thing, saying you are doing your duty. You might get defeated. Doesn't matter. You might win, you might lose. But do what you have to do.
Yeah.
So in Karma Yoga, you do not incur sin when you do what you have to do, even if the outcome is not what
In favor,
in
I mean,
so-called favorable.
expected.
Yeah.
Expected result. So you do it without any expectation. That's another. I mean, you do what you have to do at the same time. Leave the results to the Brahman or somebody to, and then take the prasada. That's more like that's a karma yoga, right? That's what we're going to read in the next chapter.
That leads to karmanne vadikaraste. You do your duty. Don't expect any results out of it. The same thing, this is in seed form, that is in the order. That's a good thing.
It is not about not expecting any result.
No,
Irrespective of the result.
the result, yes.
Irrespective of the result, you continue doing what you have to do.
When you say the expectation is like whether it's or irrespective of the results, okay. When I felt like whether
when you expect, then only you crave for results, no? So don't expect at all. That is what it is. Here you have to just do your duty. Leave the result for
karma phala to karma phala data.
You have no right on the karma phala. You have right only on the duty. That is what is the karmanya vadikaraste.
Okay.
While reading all of this yesterday, I said I will share something that happened to me at workplace. So, putting it in a nutshell, I was given the head of the department when I joined this new hospital, and I took it up as a challenge because it was a varied, multicultural group. It's a big department, but I took it up. There were initial troubles, teething troubles were there, but went on. I said, no, let me do my bit. I'll continue doing what I have to do. And then we have this employee feedback system that happens twice a year. And the last time it happened, that was in June, in November. There were two employees, and it's anonymous. You do not know who has written what. There were two of my department people who had mentioned we want a change of the head. So before that, Prem has been telling me this is taking a toll. It's quite stressful and a lot of administrative work. He said, why don't you step down? Why don't you hand it over? Then I said, no, I've been given this responsibility and I'm happy doing it, and I'll taking it as a challenge, and I'll continue. But when I saw this feedback, then Prem, actually, my husband said, what they are actually fulfilling what you're supposed to be doing. So they've given you an indication. So then I thought about it. Then I said, if they want someone, even if one person wants a change, there may be something that probably I'm not really fulfilling. So probably this is the time for me to step down. And so I went to my CEO and talked to him. I didn't tell him this was the feedback, because the feedback is anonymous anyway. So I told him, I would like to hand over the leadership to someone else. I would like to just concentrate on the clinical aspects. So, and my immediate boss, the COO, actually had the chief of medical staff in my appraisal had actually mentioned. He said, do you want to focus only on your clinicals and give up the leadership? But at that point, that was 6 months ago, I said, no, just now we're getting the whole group together and we're having some cohesive unity. So let me, for the sake of the department, let me continue. But 6 months later, when this happened, when this feedback came, and I decided to step down, I went ahead and spoke to my CEO, and everything happened. And there was one of my colleagues became the head. But when I look back in retrospect, I am just wondering whether I even asked Nana about it. I said, is it considered like I am dropping the leadership, giving up the leadership out of, like Arjuna wanted to leave the battlefield? He did not want to fight anymore. Is it considered that way? Is it considered that I'm doing my duty, or am I doing it otherwise? Was the doubt that I had. So, and it has not been an easy task to give up the leadership, and then because nobody else knows, none of the other department or anyone in the hospital knows that it was triggered by me. I went up and gave up the leadership by myself. So it was a psychologically challenging situation that I put myself in. But I said, no, it is giving me an opportunity to test my strength of integrity and, how I can not get affected by it, not let the ego get affected by it. So when I read what Arjuna is being told by Krishna all along, there is this still this little doubt is cropping up, saying, did I do the right thing? Or should I have continued in spite of that negative feedback? Continued, but then finally, anyway, there would be a change in the leadership. So I just thought I would share this. Yesterday, we had almost come to the end of our Manana, so I didn't do it. But today, I thought I will just share it, put it out there in the open, so that um, we could use this as a discussion for what was right to do, what was the right thing to do. Although I'm not regretting my decision, but then that there is that little doubt that needs to be cleared in my head.
What I think, Pramaraji, if there are 50 people and only 2 people are giving the negative feedback, so you should not have stepped down, because the census that how many people in the group is saying that. So two may be making a mistake.
And also, it's like
Out
becoming.
of
Because what they
raga dvesha.
perceive about you may be the wrong.
Yeah, out of raga dvesha. They might have written out of raga dvesha.
Because everyone has
His
given the
own way.
consent. Everyone has given positive feedback and only 2 are giving. That is valuable, but you have to retrospect of yourself and means like not getting affected by that. So majority always wins.
But all it depends upon your satisfaction. Have you done?
Yeah.
That is more important than whether you are
Means
very good in
for the
clinical.
long run, and for the benefit of the many people,
That is
we have
dharma.
to do that sacrifice like.
Because so many times we will be very good in our technical knowledge, but we may not be good in administration knowledge. Those are two different things. So we have to think of ourselves, am I doing it 100%? Then okay. So those two feedbacks might be out of raga dvesha.
And the position you have got because of your
Qualities, capacity.
because your like means that 100% yogya candidate, what we say, that.
I have another standpoint to this. It's like, as teachers, right from the beginning, we are associated with Gurudev. So we have had many occasions to lead the whole event. Like we have led events, we have participated in it as leaders and shown the way. A time comes, like there was one event in Bombay in area called Sion. And I did not tell that I'm a teacher also to the people there, and I just joined in and let somebody else become the group head. We were put into teams and I let somebody else lead. Enough of leadership. Step down and let somebody else take leadership so that they also get developed and cultivated to higher levels of seva. So I stepped down and I did not step down, I did not take the leadership. I allowed somebody else to take the leadership. And then I was put into handling the traffic outside the ground where Gurudev was to come. And everybody forgot about us. We didn't have water, nothing throughout till about 12 o'clock. Somebody known to me passing by car saw me, and then they brought in cold water for us, many bottles. And then I just took a few sips and I passed it on to all the people doing traffic duty. And then it just happened that we were called after the event by Gurudev in different, like Western Harbor and Central Track, like that way we were called. And in that, he asked me, "Where are you?" So I said, "I've shifted to Navi Mumbai from Kulaba." And then he said, "You start taking advanced courses." And I didn't realize why. Then one of the Apex members said he saw you working so hard in the traffic in the hot sunlight, and you didn't have, you were just directing the traffic, and Gurudev passed by. Your whole awareness was only on the traffic, not on anything else. And as a teacher, you could have asked. Everybody wants, where the van is there of Gurudev, that where he has his uh, facilities before he goes on the stage. And could have taken that, but no, I decided to work in the hot sun as my leader put me there. And then see, he is fully aware, he's Antaryami. He made me advanced course teacher. What was the connection between asking where I am now? Then he asked me, what am I doing? I said, I have retired years back, I quit my job. And he said, you become full time. So the whole people have to apply to become full time teachers. Here he is telling me to become full time. All it was real reverse gear. So sometimes when you just step back, step down, and let somebody else, you are again nurturing more leaders that come up. And then that fellow went on to doing lake regeneration process in Borivali side somewhere, and that whole credit went to him. Even there, like from behind, I helped. I had a donation of 10 lakhs which I gave, and through some sponsor who wanted to give through his company, they have social responsibility funds, and I got it, and I did not take any credit. He took the whole credit, everything. But that's okay. But he's become such a fine leader now, and he handles security now in all Gurudev's events. So it's okay to step back sometimes and cultivate more new leaders. Sorry, Jai Gurudev.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, all of you. Thank you, Percy ji. That was really beautiful. So this was what was my thought process as well. He says, although my Prem told me once earlier, he says you're taking a lot of stress and it's affecting your, your sleep schedule. Your At that point, I said no. I'll continue because I'm loving what I'm doing. I'll take it up as a responsibility. But when this feedback came, I thought maybe this is universe giving me an indication. This is the time for me to actually take a decision. It was not so much of majority there. I did not look at it as majority. The other majority are giving me positive. It's only these two giving. I thought probably this is an indication. It's a subtle indication from the universe. So normally people would want to hold on to a position. They have the raga for the position. I did do my best, but maybe my best was not sufficient enough to run the department in as much as a cohesive manner. That is why there was some dissident feelings going on. And then I thought maybe there is someone more capable than me. So let me. It was out of that thinking that I said no. Let me just step down. Like I said, it has been a challenging position because, see, in the art of living, it's fine. I mean, we have uh, we have coordinators, country teachers, and then these roles keep changing, and Gurudev keeps changing them every couple of years. But in the workforce, people, and in the art of living, people are in a different perspective. Whereas at
It's
workplace,
a lot of responsibility, Dr. Pramara,
yeah,
for
and in the
you.
workplace it is
Yeah.
different. I mean, people look at you,
Yeah.
oh, she's been knocked off the leadership, so she's not, all kinds of things they can imagine.
Mm.
And that was
Yeah.
what was going on in my mind as well. Each time it
Mm.
came, I brushed it aside. I said, no, I'm not going to be focused on what others are thinking about me. I will just do
Mm.
my duty as a clinician and happily do that. So and as I'm reading all of this, the last few verses about Krishna telling Arjuna, you will be looked at as a coward, you'll be looked at as, someone
Mm.
who has just left the battlefield.
Mm.
So this little doubt had come up, and therefore I said I will put it forward. And thank
But
you all for
Prabhati,
sharing.
in transactional world, when we are supposed to do some work, again that new person will take a time to understand that responsibilities. He will
Yeah.
take time to work, so that working hours will be consumed more because you were means this was my thinking.
Yeah, but when we have to handle,
But our mental
irrespective
peace is
of our
also very important,
responsibility.
so it was good decision.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to feel, as long as what you feel comfortable, like you're not under stress all the time, like that, be something. I mean, we feel that we can handle it, and given the situation, we would have handled it. And then you always give 100%. You expect yourself, your high expectation. You want to be perfect. When meaning, see, one person. See, we are not going to be in my own practice also the same thing. Like we everybody, we can't expect everybody is going to like me. Like whatever we are doing. There will be one patient may complain. Even that one complaint will be hurting you really bad, because we give even that person, we would have treated us, we treat ourselves, like that's how that we are like that. So that then it kind of hurts sometimes. At the same time, okay, I am happy, like we are content with what we are doing, and we are doing 100%, and then leave it at that. To me, you have done everything, and I at that point, we could take it as a challenge and go further, but then again, that would be something at that moment in time, you made the right decision to just to do it, like this
Yeah.
way you're feeling better, right? I mean, the sense. So, and even if you take some other, like what sometimes it opens the door for something else. You give maybe better, you have better things to do in your life, so that maybe another reason that happened. That's how I would take it more positively.
Yeah. So,
In this
Ramanaji,
second half,
Jai
what
Gurudev.
was said, I would say that A, the disturbances in the mind, if that was there, then Gurudev has said many a times, that in this world, take it all as Leela. Let it all be like a play. So like Krishna Leela, Ram Leela was there. So like all the plays going on, don't get caught up in that play. Like, and he gave an example that village people normally would throw slippers on the villain, etc. So that comes to my mind. So it is the with the quality of your mind, whether you're disturbed or not. So that was one point that came out very clearly to me. That your mind should not be disturbed. That is very important.
yeah.
Jai Gurudev Brahmaraji, I think it is for all of us. I was craving for, when you are taking up this session, no, it is so beautiful and so easy to digest for us. So I was every time thinking like Arjuna had Krishna, who will take care of, like in our day-to-day Kurukshetra, our I was thinking about the role of the master. We are definitely surrendering to him, but when we are meeting you daily here, we are taking our hearts out in your presence. So I believe especially that you are an instrument of Gurudev, and whatever comes from your mouth, it is like the way Krishna is telling to Arjuna. So for our sake, it is so sorry to be a selfish person, but we are very happy to have you.
We give the answers many times because of you. Whatever you are, means whatever we are learning from these classes, the manana goes on, and then again our thinking process is changing every day.
Correct. Very true.
Mm.
Very true.
Yeah, we're all co-students, Belaji. I'm also a student, like a co-sadhak. All of us are sadhaks. We have this methodology, we have this beautiful knowledge that Swamiji has given us. Shankaracharya's commentary has been so beautifully explained, and we are all in gratitude
That is your humbleness, Brahmaraji.
And yeah,
we know
you
your
also posted that commitment and what is the other one? Convenience. Yeah, that was really very, very good knowledge point. Really, to make a decision as to how much we should be committed to what we should, what we do every day, and then the convenience that definitely it opens the eyes for uh, whatever we are doing.
Is that Shreyas and Prayas, Brahmaraji? What you sent yesterday, right? Choosing between Prayas and Shreyas, right?
Yeah, it is about um, commitment and convenience. Commitment, it may not necessarily be Shreyas and Prayas. Yeah, we can extrapolate it to that. But anything you take up as a commitment, when you do it because it has to be done, it is like this karma yoga, right? So it is, you're supposed to do it, you do it, whether you feel like doing it or not. So when you're doing it out of convenience, the factor of feeling comes in. Whereas when you're doing it out of commitment, irrespective of your feeling, you will do it because it has to be done.
Jai Gurudev, I'm sorry I joined late, so I missed almost everything. I want to be, I just want to thank Brahmaraji for keeping this Manana going and bringing Nanaji to give us an awakening, I would say, and a commitment to be on the path. So I also join everyone else in being grateful to you for running this for us. Jai Gurudev. I don't know what was the story you shared. I had to, I joined very late today. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. I'm really grateful and thankful to Devi for everything. Each word, each moment. Thank you.
And one last thing about this thing about the situation about the leadership thing was, it was situational. Around that time, coincidentally, there were a lot of reports of young doctors, because of overworking, had just lost their lives. Young, I mean, they were in their early 40s or so. So all this was going on in my mind, and probably all of that also um, kind of contributed to me taking that decision. I'll just wrap up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything, Dr. Mara, before we close?
No, that definitely, a lot of physician burnout, happened, right? I mean, especially in India, I hear all the time, this person, very young people, they just, because of the stressful, they have to do so much of work, right? In terms of no rest for them. So like that kind of a thing, we have to take care of ourselves also. That comes as a priority, with the Kshetra, Kshetrajna thing. That's how it works. Thank you.
Sorry, I think there was some other audio going on behind.
Not mine though.
No,
That's
it was
fine.
not yours. It was from my computer. There was another YouTube that was playing.
Okay, no problem.
So, and I thank all of you for sharing your insights into this incident. And yeah, it is only a learning process. It's like Percy G said, it's all about handling the mind. So it's given me a practical situation to put all of this knowledge into use. Yeah.
Could you
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. No, I just wanted a gist of the issue. Never mind. I will find out
Yeah,
later. I
it's
will
there
listen.
in the YouTube. You can actually,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry about that. Huh? We'll
No,
close
it's
here. Thank
yeah.
you. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
चलो विल डू ए शॉर्ट मेडिटेशन. सब लोग आराम से बैठ जाइए. एवरीवन सिट कंफर्टेबली इजली. रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधा रखे. लेट्स कीप आवर स्पाइन इरेक्ट. Let's take our attention to the top of the head. And become aware of the vast sky above the head. सिर के ऊपर विशाल गगन है. उस गगन से तरंग हमारे सिर पर पड़ रही है इस वक्त. इसका स्मरण करें. Become aware of the vast space and cosmic rays from the universe falling on your head right this moment. मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते सारे तरंगों को अपने भीतर स्वीकार करें. With a smile, receive all the vibrations, cosmic vibrations, into your body. Vedic chantings are happening. All other sounds are there. Just welcome them all. मंत्र घोष भी चल रहे कहीं दूर. पूरे वातावरण में पवित्र तरंग उठ रहे हैं. इन सब को आप स्वीकार करें अपने भीतर. Let's also chant Om. हम भी 3 बार ओंकार का ध्वनि करते हैं. गहरी सांस लीजिए. रिलैक्स योर होल बॉडी, पूरे शरीर को ढीला छोड़ दें. Let every cell in our body start to relax, expand, and smile. ओम शांति शांति शांति. और धीरे धीरे आंखें खोल सकते हो. Slowly and gradually you may open your eyes.